Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday and happy release live stream Thursday on the VS Code live stream. My name is Olivia, and as always, I'm so excited to be here with you all. If you're new to these streams, essentially once a month, we get together with the VS Code product team members and other friends, sometimes from GitHub, sometimes from some of our partners, to come on and really just share what the latest you need to know about VS Code is. The team is shipping so quickly, and I know it can be hard to feel like you can catch up on everything that's happening. So this is the chance to really catch some of those highlights, hear directly from the product team, and ask your questions. So with that, chat, let me know where you are watching from. Let's get warmed up. So excited to have you all here. Like I said, this is your chance to get a lot of questions answered. So I'll be monitoring the chat all throughout and queuing up questions for our presenters to take. So it's really a great time if you're wondering more about a feature, want to hear a little bit more about, maybe what's next for a certain feature, ask those questions. And then anything that we can't get to, we'll try to get to in the chat, or you can always file an issue in our VS Code repo. Or contact us on any of our social media platforms to make sure that you get in touch with us. So thank you all for being here. As always, very excited. Before we kick off with our amazing lineup today, I do always like to get started with just doing a quick thank you to our contributors. For those of you who don't know, VS Code is an open source project, and we could not do what we do without our amazing contributors. And even before we go into those thank yous, you might have noticed something different with the release notes. And that's the fact that before, if you look at the side, we always had these monthly releases, so January, February. But now you'll see we've moved to kind of just showing the numbers, and that's because the VS Code team has actually moved to weekly releases. So if y'all have been using Insiders, you know that there are daily updates already, but Stable was only releasing once a month. Now we do weekly stable releases. So even more excitement to get your hands on the latest features there. If you weren't, using Insiders before to get those daily updates, now every single week in stable, you get some of the latest features in it. So you can actually scroll through there. February 2026 was our last official monthly release. And from there, now we're just going to a weekly cadence. So I'm going to still scroll through the thank yous of each section because I still want to make sure that everyone who did contribute is properly shouted out here. So you'll see that we still have those thank you sections in our release notes because we really do appreciate everything that our contributors do. We really couldn't do it without y'all. So that February 2026 was our last one, and now going into 111, released on March 9th. Another thank you section there, which I still think that this is so awesome that we still have so many great people to thank every single week. And then we had a release literally yesterday for 112. So you will see these weekly releases populating through stable every single week. If you don't get the automatic update, you can always search for updates and it will go ahead and download it. But generally, it's every Wednesday. You'll start getting the ability to update that. So the team is shipping quickly. I know that there's a lot that we would love to give a deep dive on how the engineering process has evolved to support this. And I'm sure, maybe next month or upcoming month, we'll definitely be talking about that so y'all can kind of see under the hood how that works. Okay, so with that, I will get off of my chatting because I know that y'all are here to hear straight from the product team. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our first guest, Justin. Hey, Justin.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, super excited to be on stream again today to talk about some new stuff that we're shipping.
I know. I always love having you on here. I always love seeing your backgrounds too. You have like the greatest setup. And you always have the best demos too that I feel like go really well with your setup. So yeah, for those of you who maybe have not seen you on the stream before, could you just do a quick intro on what you do on the VS Code team?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a developer on the VS Code team. I work mostly, recently I mostly work on VS Code chat related stuff. So anything with GitHub Copilot, the UI, the UX. I previously showed off stuff like checkpoints, editing previous requests, and been working on some stuff, including like rendering, some stuff with the chat input, and most recently, the new feature that I'm showing off today is with autopilot and bypassing approvals.
Cool. All right. Well, that sounds like a good segue. Let me go ahead and actually, I'm not seeing your screen. If you just want to share it again real quick, Justin,
Yes.
and then I can add it on. But yeah, I mean, I love, how you kind of list all the different things that you're doing because you touch so many different parts of that. And I think that that's kind of a common, while each engineer on the team might have like certain focus areas, the amount of work that everyone does is always amazing to see the breadth of just all the different places that people touch. But yeah, with that, your screen's showing. So if you want to dive on in.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess to kind of preface all of this is kind of talking about the problem space that I was seeing regarding like some stuff with like auto approvals or some of the friction that comes with approvals specifically in agent mode. And a lot of times, a lot of these tools will require you to go through and click like allow once, allow in the session. You'll see like a terminal tool come up and you'll have to click allow. File edits, terminals, as I mentioned, searches. Sometimes you're doing like a really big refactor and maybe you just want to leave it, but you'll get stopped by these approvals. And adding something like a permissions picker, I think just kind of increases that or like allows for the spectrum of trust preferences and allow each individual to kind of choose what they want to do. So for example, users can range from I want it to approve everything automatically for me. And that's something that you can do now. Or you can say, I just want it to approve specific things. And that's something you can also continue to do. So kind of showing off what I have here on these slides. Sorry, these are like kind of like quickly thrown together slides. But you might notice in your VS Code in stable as well as in insiders, starting from last week, there was a new secondary toolbar. So we added this toolbar because we wanted to kind of split a couple things up. The two things that you see at the bottom of the toolbar are things that are generally more session specific. They can still kind of be request specific, but generally the idea is kind of split in that mental model. If the bottom is like session specific, the top is more like request specific. But you can see here, we have this permissions picker. And this essentially, if you have default approvals, and this is what is default for everybody, nothing changes. If you have any existing settings, like the global auto approve setting or any of these auto approve settings that I have listed here, nothing changes here. It'll adhere to all the settings you have. And basically the idea here is whatever you used to work with or whatever like approvals that you're used to, that's what it will prompt you to do. However, the thing that we added here is something called bypass approvals. And what bypass approvals actually does is it's essentially the same thing as global auto approve, but it will pretty much just ignore any other settings. So when you have bypass approvals on, all tools are automatically approved, regardless of any settings you already have set. It will auto retrigger retries on errors, excluding stuff like quota limits, rate limits, off-topic errors, et cetera, et cetera. But the one thing that it won't do, my screen sharing stopped. I'll share that again. The one thing that it won't do is it will not automatically retry whenever there's some kind of user input prompted. So anything like the ask questions tool or anything like terminal asking for user input. So to kind of show that off, just like a quick example. So here in default approvals, I'll ask it to like run npm run watch right here. And in my settings, I believe I actually just have it set to like not automatically approve this. So you can see here, it's going to render. But at the end of the day, in default approvals, it will end up asking for some type of approval.
Mm-hmm. And so default approvals is obviously the default, but then you can have kind of those more granular settings that would maybe say, okay, just approve this one command or just approve that. And that's essentially what people have been used to.
Yes, exactly.
And so that gives you kind of, that's the most restrictive. And then case by case, you can decide whether or not to auto approve certain commands.
Exactly. Yeah. So like this can be as restrictive as you want it to be or as loose as you want it to be. Like you can see here, I have like false set on a bunch of random things, true set on a bunch of random things. And once again, npm is false just for demonstration purposes. But if I go here and I change it to bypass approvals, you can see there's a nice little pop-up here that just kind of warns you what you're doing. I'm going to run that same command again. And it should automatically go and run the command for me instead. And once again, there's just like a nice hands-off thing now. Like I can just completely leave and not even be here anymore. It's actually doing some build tasks first.
And I know you
I'll-
were mentioning kind of the mental model of like the secondary toolbar is that session specific, and maybe you're about to demo this, but does that mean that every time you create a new agent session, it's gonna persist what you picked for the previous session? Will it reset to default approvals and you have to say bypass approvals for each new session? How does that flow work?
Yeah. So that pop-up that you see you can see here, it actually ran it. I think there's a bug with what's being run right now because of some like stuff with NVM, but you can see it got automatically run. But yeah, to answer that question, it is going to be session specific. So it will just retain for the rest of the session. So I can do like another thing like edit this, and it will actually stay for that session. When you switch sessions, actually, right now what we have is more of like a security measure, so people aren't accidentally doing things that they don't expect to do. If I were to switch sessions and go to a different session or like go to like a new session, it should reset if I do not have the global auto approve setting on.
Okay.
I think I currently do, but the idea is that if you switch to a new session and you don't have the global auto approve setting on, it should reset to normal.
It kind of falls back to those like default settings that you had. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So you can see here, it automatically edited the package JSON for me. Normally it wouldn't, because package JSON it's like a sensitive file. So if I was in default approvals, that wouldn't have happened. And I guess I can just show that off real quick. But yeah, while that runs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any sort of like specific opinion on if you should or should not do bypass approvals versus default? Is it really up to the user's specific trust level?
Yeah. I think it's really up to the user specific trust level. Obviously, you should kind of take into account things like sandboxing, like the repo, the task. I think there's no one like right answer. It really just does depend on the user preference. Okay. But yeah, you can see here in the default approvals, it asks for approval. So yeah, kind of going back to my slides here. So that's bypass approvals, that's default approvals. Cool. I don't think anything like fundamentally changes here. The really cool thing that we're shipping, and to preface, this is only enabled in insiders right now. You can enable this in stable with the setting, and it's just called like it's just chat.agent.autopilot. But we have this thing called autopilot now, and you kind of saw this in my picker down here, and I'll switch into this. But the idea with autopilot is that it has everything that autoapprove has and more. So it will try to complete the task until it thinks that it's done. And how we do this is we have this thing called the task complete tool, as well as a couple system prompt additions. And it will basically check if the task complete tool is called. And then that's basically when we know that it's done. Otherwise, it'll continue looping. And once it's done, it'll try to do some summarizations. The really cool thing about this is it will auto reply on questions. It will auto reply if your terminal requires input, like let's say like you have to type like yes or no, something like that. It will automatically do that. Once again, it will still retry on errors. It has like a max iteration loop if task complete is not found. We're going to try to make this configurable later. And the last thing that I think is really cool is if you start this in plan mode, if I were to start this in plan mode, and then I like type some stuff here, like create a new file and add some text, it will automatically hand off to the agent once it's actually done.
Oh, that's nice.
So super hands-off from end to end. You can start it in plan mode, trust that it's going to go through and do the plan, and then at the end of the day, it will automatically hand off to the agent when it's done. Yeah. My screen keeps unsharing.
Yeah, no worries.
Mac bug that I keep getting, but yeah.
Cool. And one of the bullets in that slide was it will auto reply to questions. So is there a logic for kind of like what the suggested answer would be for a question, and it just runs with that?
Yeah. So you can see here that it actually did automatically reply to the questions. I think plan mode is pretty prone to using the ask questions tool. So the ask questions tool, when we get it from the model, most of the time it already does come with some sort of default answer. I don't think it's 100% of the time, but sometimes it does. So the idea with the ask questions tool, at least, is that we will automatically just pick the default answers. The case where actual user like typed input is required, it will actually send a message like, hey, the user is actually not here. Just try to operate to the best of your ability, or like answer the question to the best of your ability. So that's what it will do instead. But yeah, that's basically the logic behind it.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, and you can see here it finished planning, and then immediately went
Let's
to start
Yeah.
implementation.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, for those of y'all who aren't using plan mode, like I highly recommend it anytime you're starting kind of a new task there, because it really does just give like a lot more kind of great context to kick off instead of just giving a blanket prompt straight to agent mode. I'm a big fan of doing plan first. And so even if you're not like fully reviewing the plan and you're just going straight to that handoff to agent, I've found really great success then with just the better results, and because that's better context.
Yeah, and yeah, to kind of just like wrap up everything and kind of talk a little bit about what we have planned in the future. So obviously, autopilot right now, once again, as I mentioned, insiders only. You could turn it on with the setting. It's still pretty experimental. It's something that we're going to continue to try to run some tests on, evals, et cetera, et cetera. And I guess kind of looking to the future, as I mentioned, some things that we want to add. So I talked about customization of iteration loops. So do you want it to force loop a couple times? Do you want to cap it at a certain number? As I mentioned previously on these slides, right now I think we have a max iteration loop of 5. But if you wanted to keep going, that's something that we're going to try to add. One thing that I think would be really cool is if we had the option to do some kind of forced tool calling loop at the end that does code review, or task review, basically. Like basically you'll go through, it'll finish, and then once it thinks it's done, we force it to continue again and say, hey, take a look at your changes. Let's do a code review, or let's do a task review. Have you checked off all your to-dos, et cetera, et cetera. So that's something that I think would be really cool to see, and really cool addition to autopilot as just like an additional sanity check, I guess.
Right, like an end-to-end, like, okay, you looped through all this, you fixed all these issues, but then how does the code actually look? What did you generate? Like, let's make sure that we hit all of our quality metrics and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, just some better UI around when autopilot actually continues. We're still kind of changing some things around behind the scenes. Once again, I mean, we're all open source, so I guess you can kind of see how it all works. But yeah, trying to change a couple things behind the scenes on like what it actually looks like. Should it be another user request when we actually send another iteration? Should it be just like forced tool call loop, etc., like stuff like that. But then the last one is autopilot in the CLI. So right now we have Copilot CLI, and you can see autopilot does actually exist here, and CLI has their own autopilot mode, and that's something we're going to try to leverage. Bypass approvals, default approvals should work around the same, but yeah, we're just going to continue to try to improve autopilot in the Copilot CLI background agent as well.
Cool.
Yeah, just a couple of next steps, and if you guys are trying it out and have any questions, you can definitely just reach out to us on GitHub issues, or I mean, you can DM me on Twitter. That's fine too. Yeah.
Love it. Cool. We did have one question about your how'd you get your little creatures in the bottom left on your your VS Code
I feel like I get that question actually all the time. It's never a demo related question. It's always on my screen. No, I'm kidding. No, it's an extension. It's called it's like a fork of the VS Code Pets extension, but it's Pokemon related.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the VS Code Pets extension. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. I don't think there are any specific pertaining to this, Justin. I do see, though, a lot of other questions just around like things like rate limits. If you're ever running into like rate limits or just any issues with models or any issues in general, feel free to always file an issue. You can actually just like directly like give feedback in VS Code as well too. If you're seeing a lot of that, check if any of the models are having specific incidents, and also try switching models and see if that helps resolve it. And then there's also a question about like which VS Code version are we talking about? And Justin, I know you did a great job of calling out insiders enabled by default for autopilot, but there is an additional setting, correct, in stable that you can now turn on as well too.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so this is the setting. It's called chat.autopilot.enabled, I believe. We actually released autopilot back in 1.111, I believe. So 2 weeks ago, we released it in stable. This week for sure. But yeah, it should be already enabled, at least for default approvals and bypass approvals, and then if you want to enable autopilot. But in my opinion, I think it's best if you try it in insiders. That will have the latest and greatest, and it'll also be a great way for us to get early feedback. So if that's something you're interested in, that'd be great as well.
Yeah, and I think that that's, I'm a big Insiders fan too. I try to always tell people if you want the latest and greatest to do that. And even with, these weekly stable releases, there's still going to be some things that it's not like everything in Insiders is going to stable every single week. So Insiders is still a very valid choice to make sure you're getting that latest and greatest, because not everything makes it over into stable in every single weekly release. Cool. All right, Justin, well, I feel like you gave a really great outlook on some of the plans going forward and how people can give feedback. Is there anything else that you want to leave us on before we say goodbye for this segment?
There isn't, as I mentioned. As you can DM me on Twitter, you can file issues on GitHub. We'll definitely see that, but it would be great if you guys try it out and let me know if there's anything that we can fix for you guys.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you as always, Justin. I'm sure we'll have you on in the future. We really appreciate it. Cool. All right. With that, that's going to bring us to our next guest, Lee. Hey, Lee. Oh, you're muted.
Of course. Hello,
everyone. Is it even a live event if someone's not muted when they come on? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah, it's nice and sunny here in London, UK.
Oh, you're in London. Nice. Ah, cool. Well, it's not usually sunny in London, is it? Yeah, so this is great. And we're making you stay inside on a live stream, so hopefully you get some sunshine after this. Okay, well, Lee, I think that this is your first time on this live stream before, so if you could definitely give a quick intro to everyone watching about what you do on the VS Code team would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so hi, my name's Lee. I'm a UX engineer within the VS Code design team. I'm kind of in charge of a lot of things here. I've done a lot of work on next edit suggestions and agent sessions, and more just general, the whole VS Code shell and how it looks and how it behaves.
Yeah, I know. I mentioned with Justin about how people don't realize just how many different areas the different engineers touch, and it's very true for the UX team as well too. I feel like it's every time I'm like, oh, who did this? We're like, oh, what's this is so cool. It's always someone different to do, because it just everyone's has great ideas and is kind of touching different areas, and the team is small but mighty. Y'all do a lot.
Absolutely. I'm sure every single engineer in VS Code has been pinged by one of our players.
Yeah, but I do love, and I always think that that's a fun thing for our audiences to hear and see about too, is just how deeply integrated the UX team is in with the VS Code engineering team as well too, and just it's truly hand in hand, weekly syncs, constantly all having that communication, and so UX is absolutely always a very top of mind for every feature that anyone ever sees. So yeah, I always think that's a great call out to do. Okay, well, with that, what will you be showing us today?
I'll be sharing some of the theme work that we've been working on in the past few releases. Most importantly, the unofficial 2026 new default themes that will be coming out in 1.113.
Cool.
So we have two new themes called VS Code Dark and VS Code Light. And these will be replacing the default dark modern themes. And I'd like to give a kind of background on how we developed these themes and how we decided how to approach it and the results that we came up with. So the whole the developer landscape has changed a ton in the past 3 or 4 years since the last set of themes were developed. And we really want to get back to basics and kind of really use a guiding principle of developer focus, try and clear away as much visual noise as we can from the workbench and keep users and engineers kind of focused on the task at hand. So we did a lot of flattening of the color palettes. As you can see here, there's the difference between shading between the editor and the side panels and the rest of the UI is more subtle now. Before it was slightly more slightly bigger difference in contrast. And we have this idea of, I guess that comes from this idea of having this 3-layer UI kind of elevation. So at the base is your workbench. That is your editor. That's where you're doing the work. So that's level 1. Level 2 is the panels, or the kind of side panels. Imagine that as that's your kind of toolbox that you're bringing in on your bench. And on top of that, we have overlays. These are the kind of temporary UI that you see, kind of like drop downs, quick picks, command center. These kind of layers that kind of are transient and just appear temporarily to aid in decision making. So with that kind of logic and that principle, this is kind of what we came up with. In tandem, this is like I said, I touch a lot of the UI. So this is kind of an in tandem effort with modernizing a lot of the UI. So we use the development of these themes as the kind of testing ground for kind of some UI modernizations. That includes things like like the border radii on controls and buttons and inputs and dialogues. Some experimentation with like shadows, using kind of like making the idea of elevation more obvious through the use of shadows, and working. Actually, if I swap over to the light theme, it will become a little bit more apparent.
I love that breakdown of, right, because VS Code has so many great functionalities and it's customizable, but I love the breakdown that you're saying of how you kind of simplify into those 3 panes to help guide those design decisions, because otherwise I'm sure it would be very overwhelming to figure out, okay, when should this have this shading, have that, like to see those principles is really cool to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. So so you can see here we have some subtle shadowing on the side panels. So let me open up this one. You can. It's very subtle. We experimented a lot with this idea of depth and how far do you go until it becomes distracting and becomes adds this idea of visual noise, which is against the kind of principles that we're working towards. We're also, I think maybe some of the viewers with previous iterations of the themes, you saw some kind of semi-transparent blurred effects on these kind of overlay UIs. Don't worry, they're coming back. We had to temporarily disable them because we were running into more technical issues around GPU usage, and these kind of frosted glass effects are quite computationally expensive. So I want to make sure that every single user across any machine that they're using has the optimum experience. So it will be coming back, and it will be configurable control, configurable setting. What else do we have? Yes, we've also updated. This is quite a subjective part, is the syntax highlighting itself. So we've had the same kind of syntax highlighting colors for many iterations of the default themes. Now we're moving towards aligning more with the GitHub color palette, which has been worked on more recently, and they have been it's been tested thoroughly, and it gets a lot of great feedback. So, but I again, like Justin said, please file issues, send as much feedback. I know this can be a big change. We've already had members in the team contact me around these.
People are very particular about like anytime something changes how it looks. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I get it. It's you're looking at this, 8 hours a day. Any change has an impact. So I want to be cognizant, and I want to make sure that it's not too big a change and has too much of an impact. As of the next release, 1.113, automatic theme switching detection will be enabled by default for new users. This you can already opt into this. This is a setting, but what that means is I hope I didn't disable it by changing the theme before. But hopefully, if I go to light, it will change. And if I go back to dark, no. Okay.
I did see this beforehand. I can vouch that this worked.
No, I think
you have setting that, yeah.
Maybe I'll turn it off and on. But yes, it will be in the next release. So if there's any bugs, it will be fixed.
Cool. And could you zoom in just maybe like 1 or 2 levels, just in case people like want to see some of that like syntax highlighting a little bit clearer too. Yeah, and I think that it's always really interesting here to see, as you said, like there's a lot of user studies that go into these choices before they finally like make it out into the public as well too. But that being said, right, like user studies don't catch everything, and so we definitely want any of that feedback that people have for how it could be better, different. And yeah, we're getting as predicted, a lot of people in the chat are like, whoa, light mode.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
warn me first. Yeah.
If I go back to Fiesta, okay, hopefully that'll spare your eyes. One other kind of UI change that we made, or another customization that's available, so you can now change the width of the activity bar on the side. So now you can right click and default. So this is the default size, and now you can actually make it more compact. But
I missed that update. That's nice.
Oh. Yeah, it's just these small quality of life improvements that are aimed at targeting as many different form factors as possible. I know we've already got feedback from like users with super wide displays that this smaller size doesn't work. So so the larger size makes sense, but in smaller displays, the smaller width works.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing this extra layer of flexibility is super important.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that is so core to VS Code in general, just like all the options to customize it how you want, and just kind of always thinking developer choice, like no matter what it is, whether it's UI, whether it's any of the like HM permissions that Justin just showed, like literally every layer of the application, like developer choice is very much forefront to make sure that the editor works and behaves what makes sense for your workflow.
That's right. And yeah, I guess building on top of that, I'm going to warn everyone that it's going to go white again. So hold on to your sunglasses. We do have a setting where you can disable the shadows on the workbench. So if you prefer a flatter, more minimalist UI, then it's there. So yeah, all gone.
Cool. Sounds good. I tried to just make the screen a little bigger too. People can try to see it in chat a little bit better. Very cool. Is there anything else you want to? Okay, so you mentioned that the themes will be default in next week's release, but can people still use them now and they'll just opt into it?
Absolutely, yeah. So if I go, so they will be at the top of the dark and light theme lists going forward next week. But they're still, but you can still select them and still try them out and use them today in
awesome
1.12 and Insiders.
Cool. Are there any other like UX little fun Easter eggs you want to share, or just things that you're looking ahead at that you want to tell people about?
I guess in terms of themes, we're discussing kind of variants of these themes to accommodate different kind of levels of color blindness, so like red, green, blue, yellow, and slightly higher contrast to kind of again accommodate as many users with as many different abilities as possible.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, Lee, if there's nothing else, thank you so much for being on here and showing these new themes. I think it's really like the thing I love about these release live streams is just getting to hear from y'all directly and just hear like all the intentionality and the considerations that go into creating these features, and getting people the chance to just like really hear from y'all, and just like all the work that goes into just a theme refresh or just the thoughts that go into making the sidebar compact. Like all of that is to help make this user experience even better. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing that.
Yeah, of course. Great to be here.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll have you on again in the future, but for now, take care. Have a good one. All right. Okay. So that is going to bring us to our next guest with Kyle. Hey, Kyle.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Yeah. Thanks so much for being on here. I think that this is also your first. Is this your first release live stream? I know you were on like Agent Sessions Day I don't know, when was that? Like
Yeah, I was on Agent Sessions Day, but this is my first release live stream.
This is your first where it's like chill. Yeah, like we just hang out. We just have people on, let chat interact and everything. So if people, haven't seen you yet on our channel before, if you could just do a quick intro, that would be great.
So I'm Kyle. I'm a senior software engineer on the VS Code team. I'm relatively new to the team. I've been at Microsoft for more than 5 years now, but joined the VS Code team about 6 months ago. My focus has been all things browser, basically. So really focusing on our web developers, because I'm kind of born and raised web developer. Like that's my jam. And so, kind of bringing as much goodness as we can directly into VS Code, right? So we'll see that with a lot of the great browser features that I'll show.
Yeah, love that. I mean, if folks haven't been following all the latest updates with integrated browser, it's been, a huge change from, with the simple browser functionality prior to what it is now. So with that, I think we can kind of dive into your demo, if that sounds good.
Your
screen.
Sure.
Cool.
So I'd love to start with just like, in case people haven't seen it, just like showing off some of the functionality, that's been in the integrated browser even for a couple months, but because it's all still very relatively new. So in the January release, we added this integrated browser. And so this differs from VS Code's old simple browser, which had been around for a long time, but it was like very limited in what it can do. And so the integrated browser is kind of the simple browser 2.0, right? It's we're making it much more powerful, more featureful, trying to support, as many, web developer scenarios as we can. And so, so you can see here, I've got this project open. It's just like a bookmark manager, but this is, local. My mouse is a bit laggy. I'll make do. So one of the things right off the bat is if I click on any of these links, they work. Right. So to contrast that with the simple browser, many sites would just not even load in the simple browser because they use iframes, have a lot of limitations. So I can even like sign into GitHub. I don't need to be signed in right now. But authentication scenarios, lots of shortcuts. Like if I control click on a tab, it can open in the background. Keyboard shortcuts, I work in this. It can, if I do my control shift P, even when I'm focused on the page, I still get this good stuff.
Oh, nice. So really truly feeling like it's called integrated browser, but like truly like you get all those native browser features in.
Right, exactly. So that, I think especially when it comes, if for anybody who's working on a single monitor, like this is pretty crucial, right? But even that aside, right, like just having to not have to like sort of context switch, right? From being like, okay, I'm in my editor and then I'm going over here into the browser.
Or even just like, oh my gosh, where was my browser window, right? Because I always have like 12,000 tabs open.
Right, yeah.
If I just have it all in my single VS Code application,
I've got my browser open with
amazing.
My email or whatever. And
right.
Where's my localhost tab?
Right.
So this is kind of bringing everything directly into VS Code to really like streamline the workflow. And what part of the advantage that we get from that is richer integration with agents. We showed the software in Agent Sessions Day. We can select an element to add it to the chat. You get lots of details about that element and screenshots. The agent can help you with that. You can share logs. We added agentic sharing.
Would you be able to zoom in maybe a couple levels too, just some of those icons in like the chat box? On the actual VS Code,
Oh my gosh, my cursor is lagging. I gotta to zoom in. all of VS Code. Okay, is that better?
Yes. I would say if you could even go like one more, that would be probably
Yeah.
like that one.
we risk not being able to see.
Yeah. Whatever is the right combo of you can still do your
target
demos.
the
If you end up
panels
having to
here.
go out, that's fine. But just maybe zoom in if you end up like going onto the
Cool.
chat.
Yeah. So so we have sharing with agent. So the agent can actually like control the page. You can see everything on it. Can click around, see what's changed. All the agentic tools, we released those in the February release. That was 110, I think.
Yes. No, it's hard to keep track now. Yeah, February was.
So in this release, some of the new things that we have are context menus. Oh, well, this is a bad site to demonstrate context menus because it has a custom context menu. But if I go to another site that doesn't have a custom context menu and I right click, we have context menus, right? So, like if I just clicked on a link, but if I say like right click on a link, right, I can open that link in a new tab. I can copy it. I can inspect this element directly. At the moment, this is just kind of like a basic set of things that you get in pretty much any browser, right? Kind of those convenience features. If I have some text selected, I can copy that, right? Those kinds of things. Other features that we've added in this release, Zoom, right? So I saw this briefly, a little bit unintentionally before, right? So
this is so nice, yeah. I was trying to demo this like a month ago, and I was like, oh my goodness, I wish there was Zoom. So I was super pumped when this happened.
And so having like an independent Zoom level, right, from the rest of VS Code makes it much easier to like test your web pages and high Zoom levels and all that. And the default for this is all configurable. The Zoom level is configurable, and it defaults to just match the VS Code Zoom level.
Okay.
So lots of convenience features, lots of nice to haves. Worth mentioning, we've got plenty of keyboard shortcuts for like navigation, go forward, go back, reload. I can hit F12 just to open the DevTools like specifically for this for this page, for the integrated browser page here. So lots and lots of convenience features. We're trying to make this, again, just a really nice experience. So the big thing in this release for browser is debugging. So this is like immediately, as soon as we released the integrated browser, everybody was saying, where's debugging? Like the first thing I tried to do was use debugging, right? Because that's such a core part of the developer flow. And so in this release, we've added it. So here I have some like existing debug configurations. So this is kind of the easiest way to get started with this, right? So you might have a debug configuration that looks something like this. Maybe it's got some custom stuff to work well with your project, but it's got a type of Chrome or MS Edge. And so basically the way to migrate that to use the integrated browser instead is to change it to this editor browser type. Okay. Right. And so all of the, let's go ahead and change this one too.
Thanks, Yes,
so we support both launch and attach types. There's most options will continue to work because it's all Chromium based still, right? So all the custom functionality, right, like this source map path overrides and like lots of options here will just work. There's some things that we actually don't need anymore, right? Like attach. I don't have to attach to a specific port because it's just the integrated browser. But yeah, so let's see it in action. So let me go ahead and close my existing things here, and I'll set a breakpoint. I think I already have one set here. So in this handle search, I'd set a breakpoint. So if I start searching, I should hit my breakpoint. Let's see if it works. So I'm just going to hit F5, right? So it's a my launch JSON. Launch browser is my default. So if I hit F5, boom, right? And you'll notice that I'm debugging as well, right? It's probably the title bar. It's a little bit like focus here because I'm sharing. But I'm attached to this page, right? And so now if I do a search,
Nice.
my breakpoint, right? I can see all my variables. I can debug. I can step and all that good stuff, right? Yeah. So I don't know what else to say about that.
Is there anything that, I mean, I know you showed kind of making sure that your launch configuration is updated to use the integrated browser. Is there anything else that users need to do to actually get this functionality to work, or as long as you have that configuration, it will launch it?
The goal here is to make it as easy as possible. Again, right? So like if you had an existing configuration that was like Chrome or MS Edge, you should be able to just change the type. Right. Again, you might remove some properties that aren't needed anymore if you're using attach. If you don't have a configuration, then you should still get all of the all the IntelliSense completions that you would get. Right. So we have like default things. If you have the control space, or start typing in launch JSON, you can get all the auto completed configurations here, and then customize that to whatever you need.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's really meant to be
right, just like you don't
really easy to get started.
Yeah, like you just automatically do it. And it's literally like if you had an external browser.
Yeah.
So
that was launch. And then real quick, just for the attach scenario, right? For with a launch scenario, if I stop debugging it, we'll close it because it's launched it, you close it. With attach. If I have an existing tab, and here I'll show a fun little thing here where localhost links can open in the integrated browser. There's a setting for that. So if I have an existing tab here, I'm not debugging yet, but I want to attach to that, then similarly we have the attach configuration. If you use this URL filter and there's one tab that matches this, then we'll just automatically attach to that. So we should do that here. Oh, maybe a vendor or something. Anyway, that should work. Yeah, so we should attach to that, and as you saw, like if there's multiple windows that match a thing, then you choose one to connect to. So yeah, I think
very cool. There's a question in chat. Do you foresee developers being able to create or install marketplace Chromium-based browser extensions to use in this?
It's definitely on my I would love to make it happen. I think it's not going to be just like straight out of the box, like install from the Chrome web store or wherever. It would definitely still be like VS Code specific extensions. But it's I would love to do that. Yeah, it's definitely on my roadmap.
Cool, awesome. And I know you showed a little bit at the start with integrate browser showing like send element to chat for agent, but as you're debugging, what's kind of the workflow of like, let's say you hit an error, is it pretty easy to just like hand that over to the agent then and be like, hey, I hit this error here while I'm debugging? Like what's kind of the flow of that?
It's a really good question. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we'll want to work on in the coming releases, because if I have I launch my browser and I have my breakpoint set and I can share with the agent and I can ask the agent, why am I mouse so laggy when I'm in this panel anyway? I don't know, search for something. So it should see my page. Hopefully these attachments don't distract you too much. But it should start typing on the page. It's going to trigger my breakpoint. And so at the moment, the agent doesn't know about the debugging stuff, right? So I debugging on its own has its own set of features to like share a variable with the agent, but they're not really connected at the moment. So yeah, we can see like it's going to read the page, it'll start typing, it'll trigger my breakpoint, and then it'll just time out. It'll say like the search didn't complete. So that's one of the next things to like to kind of make the integration of these things smarter.
Cool.
You can see I hit my breakpoint here. And just to show again, like, in debugging, I have things like add to chat, right? So like I can share a variable directly with the chat this way, but they're not very well connected at the moment. So that's something that we'd love to improve.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Love hearing all these different things that are on the roadmap. Awesome. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to show with this functionality? Like I said, like if y'all have used, I feel like Simple Browser is actually like very, like a lot of people didn't know about it, but if you did know about it, like the changes between Simple Browser and now.
Yeah, if you tried Simple Browser in the past and you went like, it's okay, I guess, like try the integrated browser. I'll just show like the entry points again, right? So there's a commands palette item here called Open Integrated Browser, and that should open a new tab. Enter URL there. Like I said, there's a you can open the browser settings here to show open localhost links. Or there's a setting there, so when you just click a link anywhere in VS Code, it'll open that. So yeah, give it a try.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to touch on or talk about on the roadmap before we say goodbye to you?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, Kyle, thanks so much for joining. Like I said, everyone, make sure to, follow along with our release notes because like these updates are coming so quickly. And like I said, like just from, as Kyle said in January when this kind of first came out, the changes that have already happened in just the last 2 months is crazy. So definitely keep your pulse on that to see what's there, file issues if there are things that you want to see or any issues that you're seeing in the experience. But otherwise, Kyle, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one. All right. That's going to bring us to our final presenter of the day. You probably recognize him. We have Connor today. Hey, Connor.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Yeah, I feel like
things, but...
I feel like, if anyone's kind of been on our channel or any of these events before, you're kind of a staple on them. So probably people recognize you if they've been on here. But in case this is your first kind of live stream here, or you just haven't caught Connor before, can you do an intro of yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Connor. I'm also a software engineer on the VS Code team. You might have seen me in the past talking about debugging and MCP things. But today I'm actually going to show off our new support for agent plugins.
Yes. Yeah, lots of really cool things, in the customization space. And I think that that's a space that's evolving so quickly. And there's always these new open standards and these new ways that you can customize. And so, yeah, I've been very excited to hear more about agent plugins and how that kind of helps wrap all that together. So here, I'll go ahead and add your screen to the stage. And yeah, let us know what you have to demo today.
Yeah, so I'm sure like everyone's probably heard of, if you work in the AI space, like there's skills, there's instruction files, there's MCP servers, there's prompts, there's a million different things for these, and there's various ways to install different tools. But the kind of way that people are sort of, I think, coalescing like how to actually like ship these around is in plugins. And so this is something that VS Code now supports. So if you want to, you can if you're on the latest version of VS Code, you can hop into the extensions view and actually look for agent plugins and then see the plugins that we have like built in. These are coming from GitHub. So these are plugins that are on the like GitHub Copilot plugins repo and the GitHub Awesome Copilot repo. And so plugins, there's actually like a few different formats. And so there's a format that the Copilot CLI supports. There's a format that Cloud Code supports. We actually support both of them. So if you have plugins from any other tool, you can use them in VS Code. And we also like, as I said, like out of the box have configured the GitHub's like plugins as Azure upstream. So you can go in here, you can like browse them. You can see if I want to do things with Azure, there's this like cool Azure plugin that like has like agent instructions, skills, like hooks, the cookbook. Apparently they have all these things. And so if you want to grab this, I haven't used it before, but say I want to install it, so I can just go ahead and install. It asks me if I want to trust this source of plugins, and I say trust, and then it goes ahead and it clones down that repo, and then now it's installed. So if you're looking to see what's actually like provided to you, I'm not sure if anyone's demoed on live stream yet, but we have this new agent customizations view, chat.
No, we haven't seen that yet.
Chat customizations view. And this basically shows you all the things that are going into your chat. So there's a page for plugins, you can see the Azure plugin we just installed. We can also like install things here. But then you can also go into like agents. And so let's see. Yeah, so it looks like the Azure plugin has like a lot of skills that it added. So you actually go in here, and if you click on them, you can like see you can like see like the actual skill that it contributes.
Oh,
And so
cool.
you can and so you can kind of like introspect them. You can also see just the other skills that come from extensions you have installed or other skills that you have configured locally. Let's see, there's no instructions. Looks like there's no prompts here. So I think this is mostly just skills right now. But I'll go ahead and install it. Also, we support plugins that have MCP servers. So I know the WorkIQ plugin has an MCP server. So if I install that, I can go in there and see that you can see this has an MCP server there as well. So that's kind of cool.
So the idea is kind of like that agent plugins give you this like curated group of customizations for whatever the bundle is about. So what, like if you're working with WorkIQ, if you're working with Azure, it's kind of this curated group of customizations that will help you make the most of your workflow in that given category.
Yeah, exactly. And also actually something that I'm working this week is actually kind of a plugin for the team to kind of like condense like our common like code patterns and like usages. And so like we'll have like a VS Code basically like team kit plugin that includes like common skills and just like knowledge, skills, instructions, prompts for things that we often do as a team.
So how would that work for like other people to install that? Like, is that just something you check in? Like how can people, obviously you're talking about from the VS Code team context, but other people who maybe have like these internal plans for agent plugins, like what would that look like?
Yeah, a good question. So you can actually add, the way you do it is that you would like put that into a GitHub repo. And so we actually support adding both custom plugins if you have a repo with a single plugin, as well as custom plugin marketplaces. And so, for example, because as I mentioned, like we support the Cloud Code style plugins, we can actually add the Cloud Code marketplace as well. So I can go ahead and hit install plugin from source, and I can add Anthropic/Cloud Code, and I'll go ahead and pull down that repo, and then we actually install those like Cloud plugins into this. So if I want to say I want to install the plugin like review toolkit here, I did that, and that's not there. So it looks like it added some. I think we have a bit of an overflow there, but yeah. So like it added, I think, some prompts or skills. Let's see. It looks like there's some agents. There's skills for like addressing PR comments. And yeah, and then that appears here. Then you can look at it and then see. Yeah, it has a comment analyzer agent. It has all these things. And so now I'm not sure if I have any open PRs on this repo, but I could say I think they have a code review command, or they have a like review PR command. So if I say I want to review, let's see, I'm behind on viewing my PRs in this repo, but let's say I want to have an agent like review this PR. I can go ahead and just use that command from the extension, and then it's gonna go ahead and looks like it's like following instructions. Yeah, so it's gonna like look at that, and then it's gonna like figure out like what's going on there. So yeah, so that's kind of like what's happening there. And so it's like these also like auto update. It's just like extensions do. So once it's installed, it'll check like every 24 hours for new updates. Install them, and then currently I'll like you can match your question if you actually want to build plugins. As I mentioned, Copilot has like their the Copilot CLI has like their plugin format. The Anthropic Cloud Code has like their plugin format, which is very, very similar but slightly different. Like there is actually work right now to kind of like coalesce the different formats into like a single like unified plugin format, because this is still like a very like work in progress area in the AI space in general. But we support all those. So if you want to, so you can build a plugin that follows either style, and yeah, you can just do the like add plugin, or I can install plugin like from sources. You can do that. You can also you can like manage like the marketplaces like that you have installed. So I added a plugin from Cloud Code Marketplace, and so that added that as marketplace now like into VS Code. So I can go ahead, I can like open the folder if I want to see, like where that was actually cloned. And we can go and like explore kind of like what the structure is. We can also like uninstall it if you want to do that. We can show plugins.
Will
And
that
other things
like stay
Mhm.
across VS Code instances, like as a marketplace that you're pulling from, or is it just for like this? Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually basically like was what was configured as a setting. So there's this like chat plugins marketplace setting, and so like me adding that basically automatically added that as like one of the marketplaces that I have like in my settings.
Cool.
Yeah, and this is global, but also something that you can now, or that you can do like if plugins, and that you can also like now newly do for MCP servers as well, is that you can actually like disable these and enable them per workspace, just so you can for extensions. And so if I go to my MCP servers, you can also see that now I can like disable them and like enable them per workspace, which is just another small feature that people have asked for a while, because often you have like an MCP server that you might have like maybe that you use in like two or three repos, but you don't want to have like in the config in those repos. And so now you can just install that as a user. You can disable it globally and enable that when you need to, pretty easily.
Very cool. There's a question kind of just like clarifying a little bit more about these plugins. They asked, are these like templates? Can we edit or customize them further once you get one of these plugins, install one of these plugins?
Yeah, so these, so the plugins that I showed you are basically like installed from like a repo upstream. So like you could, in theory, like edit those on disk if you wanted to, but you probably shouldn't, because then it's gonna like fail next time it tries to update. Yeah, but you actually like can, for example, like clone down or just like author like your own plugin, and then you actually if you go to this thing called plugin locations, and you can actually like point this to like a file path on your disk. And so if you have like a local plugin you're developing, just like plugin that's like only on your machine, you can just say, I have like plugins that's like my cool plugin or something like that, and that'll just like load that plugin locally that you can like edit, you can like iterate on, and then you can publish to GitHub if you want to in the future, but you don't have to. So
cool, that's awesome. And yeah, Teamed Craziness says that you have a lot of really great details in here that probably require its own video, like the workflow and where to find the features. I do think on the VS Code channel, we're planning on doing some on-demand videos on just like all those different customizations and that sort of like workflow. But yeah, Connor's always our resident to come in to talk about a lot of these things on stream. So definitely make sure to follow along the channel, and we'll have even more dedicated to that. And you can always watch on demand here too. Chat customizations kind of new menu that you showed, is that something that you can like dock to the sidebar, or is that just something that only opens from
it's kind of like own window for now. This is something that like we're still actively working on. Like you probably saw, it's a preview thing, so so folks are still working on this, but it's super cool. There's like lots of goodies in here. Definitely still like being polished right now. Like you might have saw, I think if you saw like a little bug like where it like overflows there, but yeah, it's really useful. Like I probably go in here like now like every day just to kind of like tweak things and see see what's happening. Definitely check it out. It's definitely like a nice, easy, like cohesive way to like see all these things in one place, which I think that we're kind of missing before. So definitely like one of my favorite new things that we've added recently.
Yeah, I like it too, just because like I said, like there's so many great different customizations, and I think sometimes you can forget, oh yeah, there's also, there's skills, there's hooks, there's prompt files. Like I think you can kind of forget about all those different options at your disposal. And so this is such a great way of just kind of, visually reminding you of these are the options you have. This is what you currently are looking at here. And I love how you can drill down directly from this window. I'm a big fan of this view.
Definitely.
Well, Connor, is there anything else you want to show, either with agent plugins or just anything else that you have been working on lately?
I think that's mostly it for now. Definitely, I think the other cool thing that's landed in like agent customization land has been MCP apps, and we actually did a few videos on that, and I think like did a big blog post like a month or so ago. And so definitely check that out if you want to. It's basically a way that like MCP servers can like show custom UI, show like rich UI. You know, you can have like nice graphs. You can have like cool interactive controls, like basically directly in chat. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, like agent plugins is something that's brand new and that like we're still working on. Like there's definitely a few like rough edges still that we have to polish out. But yeah, I keep an eye on it, and yeah, and like if you have like on your team, if you have like a bunch of like skills or other things that you just like ship around manually, plugins might be a good solution to make your life a lot easier.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Well, as always, thank you so much, Con, for being here. We had a lot of great comments saying this is awesome and learned a lot.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to you, Connor, and then I'll close out the stream because unfortunately he was the last of the lineup. But thank you, Connor, so much for being here. Thank you to all of our presenters today. You know, the thing is, like, we just had over an hour of content, and that's literally just scratching the surface of everything that's come in the last month of VS Code. So definitely make sure to check out the latest release notes. We have just a quick aka.ms/VS Code release that you can go to, and that will take you to the latest release notes. Again, we've moved to weekly releases, so that will show you what shipped in the last week. If you feel like you're still behind, you can go back to any of the previous weeks or months to just catch up on everything that's shipped. The team's moving so quickly, and I love any chance that we get to kind of connect with y'all and show you some of the highlights. But like I said, there's so many other great things there. I feel like even just, you know, I go through these release notes and chat with the team all the time, but even in these release live streams, I always learn something new. All right. Well, with that, thank you again to everyone who was on our stream today. Thank you everyone in chat for being here. It really just means the most to be able to get the chance to connect with y'all, hear what's top of mind, get your questions answered. My name is Olivia, and I'll be back with you here next month for another live stream. But in the meantime, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, the VS Code YouTube channel, and you can go ahead and see any other upcoming streams. We have a ton of on-demand content on a lot of things that you've seen today. Shorts, lots of great stuff there. So if you're looking for a way to just kind of stay up to date, aside from release notes and following us on social, we have a lot of great video content there as well. With that, I'll leave y'all. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And as always, happy coding.